Hi, and welcome to my 2-year anniversary premiere special. I got something really cool edited up for you guys. We're going to sit down, we're going to chat, we're going to watch the video, and then afterwards we're going to log on to my live stream and we're going to give a copy of this software as well as 5 other winners for something cool I got cooked up. So let's start the film. Hello, welcome inside the Mind of Matt. Do you have a 3D printer? Do you like printing lithophanes? Would you like to take your 3D printing lithophanes to a new level? Well, I stumbled across a piece of software that has allowed me to make this 3D printed Christmas ornament. In this video, I'm going to show you how I did it. Stick around, watch the rest of this video. Stay tuned. Alright, so the name of the software is called Photo to Mesh, and it's by Ransen Saftware. I found it and I downloaded it. I installed the demo version. Now with the demo version, you're gonna get a demo version across the screen as well as on any of the prints, as well as you can only export 20 STLs on the demo version. So I just went ahead and I just purchased it. It was so worth it. Now it's a little bit of a process to get to the ornament like I did, but I'm gonna show you on the software how I got the picture on the shape, and then I'll bring you over in the slicer and I'll show you how I prepared it to get ready to print it. So let's go into the computer. So let's get right into this and take a peek and see what it looks like and how we're going to use it. So this is what it looks like when you first open it. And as you see here, there are a bunch of different shapes and things to choose from. We're just gonna go for this project, we're going to go with the sphere slice. Alright, so the easiest thing to do is just open up a picture and put it right in. I do have a picture that I had for this project. Let's take this guy right here. So you first bring in the picture. It's going to allow you to make some adjustments to both your brightness and your contrast. You'll get a live preview as to what it's going to look like. You can make whatever adjustments you want. Now I will say that the controls, it may be my mouse, but they're a little bit like sticky. But once again, that could be my mouse. So I'm just going to keep it as it was at 1 and 1. The next screen is going to be rotating it. If you want to, you can go by 90 or 180 or minus 90 or 0. I'm just going to keep it the same. And the next window is going to allow you to crop it. And what you want to do is in the left window, just grab it, and with the left mouse I'm pulling down and just kind of selecting the area I want, and as you see on the right, it's just going to give me the area in which I am selecting. So we're just going to go ahead with that, and it brings the picture right in, and immediately you get to see what it's going to look like. Now it is going to, what I have done, you'll see in the project, is I printed it on just a half a sphere, 180 degrees. Then I actually had the Merry Christmas, which I went into paint and actually created a new image file that said Merry Christmas 2018, saved it as a JPEG and brought it in the same way, adjusted it and exported it. But for the adjustment, you can actually go right here to image placement, and at this point it can move it up and down, you can move it side to side, and you can also adjust the height of it as well as the width of it. So I'm just going to cancel out because it really looks like it's in good shape. Now actually my faces might be a little bit distorted. So this kind of stuff here, the tweaking of it, it's just going to take a little bit of playing with it, little adjustment, see what it looks like, and go back and forth until you get the desired look of, just kind of like you would do in making a lithophane in one of the other programs, such as my video that I did on Simplified 3D, where you can make it right in Simplified 3D. But if you don't have Simplified 3D, then there's also 3D Rocks is a website that you can do flat and curved and other shapes, which you can all do in this, which I would cover in a different video. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. But anyways, back to this guy. So I am going to do a little bit of adjustment on the height of it in order to kind of, you stretch it out this way and it kind of makes it so when it's not so stretched out the other way. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, so let's also look up here at some of these other numbers and sliders and settings. Right here is actually kind of the resolution. If you, I have found that at 500, if you actually look at the file size, by default it's going to be 250. And as you see, it's a 12.11 megabyte file. And the resolution, you know, that's what you see. Now if I was to actually double that by 50, 500, you'll see that the file size goes up from there, as well as if we go that way. And you can see that there's been some improvement as far as the resolution goes. Now anytime you make any type of one of these adjustments, if you hit the recreate model, it will reload it with the most current settings that you have. Now the other thing is, for this particular mod, or when you're selecting the shape of a sliced sphere, the diameter right here, obviously it's the diameter, the bigger that you make it, the bigger the actual object that's going to be created is going to be. I did some measurements, and as you see, all the ones from the introduction are all 80 millimeters. And if you add, this is 180 degrees, which would be a half of, so if you actually, I didn't try it in the full version, but in the, yeah, same thing, in the, see, it didn't recreate, and it'll show you, it won't go a 460 degrees, so it kind of leaves you that. But because we're going to do half and half, 180 degrees is what you want. That's what I want. Now the other thing is that you can also put the picture on the inside, and it'll show up like that. And there's also options up here into edit where you can remove the front image, you can remove the back image, or if you hit the swap, it'll take the back from the front and the front to the back. But since how I don't have one, and then when I redraw, recreate, you'll see that the image is on the inside now. Now I did try to print one of these with everything on the inside. I'll show you that here. And there was just not enough light that I was be able to produce in order to make it shine through. So there are some other shapes that I would maybe say that it might be capable of it, but for this particular, it did not work. So in case you want to try, I did, and it didn't work. So the other thing is, as far as the Z height mesh, now as far as the sphere goes, we're not really getting a Z height, it's more of a thickness. So I have found that the one 2.3, it's not too much getting too much overhangs, as well as I'm getting a good amount of resolution of the picture. Now, as far as the thickness, you might play with this. I started out with a 0.8, which only ended up with 2 layers, and the upper area of this particular model you see is kind of broken up. The layers were just too thin, and I just didn't get a good print, so it was a failure. So at that point I stepped and I actually increased the amount of this base thickness. So that is like the thinnest part of plastic, with like the brightest amount of light is actually going to be this thickness. So I went with the 1.2. It's worked for me. You can tweak it if you decide. And then of course the next is the invert mesh, which if you do not have that checked, it will be like a negative image, and all your light portions of it will be really thick and the dark stuff will be really thin. So we want to make sure that we invert the mesh. And of course we are also going to be putting it on the outside. So once you get your picture just the way you want it, then all you have to do is go up to File, Save as an STL or DXF file, which is for doing a CAD. So some of the flat ones that you can actually do and export them in a file that your CAD. Okay, so we're going to save it. We're going to call it Junior and Senior. Okay, and once again, for the Merry Christmas, I ended up just making a new image in Paint, and then I just brought it in just like that and made it just like I made the other one, so just like this. Okay, so we're going to save that as well. Now I'm going to write over that guy so we have a fresh one. And it was that easy with the software. Now we have to bring them into the slicer. Now this is where it kind of gets a little bit tricky. You got to kind of line the two parts up just right. And the top part, I actually took both of these, I brought it into Fusion 360 and didn't convert it to a B-wrap or anything, but just kind of made an offset plane to the top of it, and then just kind of drew a circle, extruded the circle, put a torus on top of it, and I have a hook. So I'm going to import both the picture halves as well. Well, I'm going to import them first, and I'm going to show you how we got to line them up. If you don't use Simplified 3D, then you're just going to have to figure out how to do this in your particular slicer, but I use Simplified 3D, and that's where I'm going to show you. So I'm going to take my Christmas and the other Junior and Senior that I made, bring them in, and there they are. So one of them I'm going to have to spin around 180 degrees on the Z-axis, and then we got to kind of just like inch them in towards the center on the X-axis by adjusting the X offset. And sometimes you might have to zero it out a little bit. You can always look at the bottom a little too far, wrong way. I'm going to go about half, 0.5 the other way. There. Let's take this guy and move it over too far. Hey, that looks right. Okay, so the way I check to make sure that they're lined up right before I go any further, I just prepare them to print. And we'll just kind of move the slider down and see exactly, we can, cut into it basically and see if everything's lined up. So as you see here, not quite lined up right. So we're gonna go back. I'm gonna take this guy and I'm gonna move it. Let's see, less, more. Let's try by just a little bit. And this you might have to play with a little bit in order to get it so that it lines up just right. Hey, that looks a little bit better. As you see, right through. Alright, so let's go back here real quick. Now we have to import the little hook. Now, if you design your own hook, then great. Mine, I do not want to reduce it. Now you can't see it because it's way down here at the bottom. But if I double click on it over here, it'll show me the values. I'm going to zero out the Z offset, and we're actually going to make it 40. Let's make it 40 to begin with. Bring it up right so it's sticking out the top. And what I have, wrong model. What I have found that I like is I just like right about there, I think. Let's go down and then half up. Yeah, that looks, maybe we'll make it all up. One full one. Okay, so next, in order to be able to open up the bottom so that you can put a couple of the Christmas tree lights up inside of it, which is what I've decided to do to light this thing up, I'm going to take all of the models by hitting Control A and selecting them all, go up to Edit, and I'm going to group them. So now everything is going to move together. Double click to bring this up, and I'm just going to lower it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 millimeters into the bed. Prepare to print it, and there you have it. Now when you do cut, make the size of your model, the size of your picture, one of the things that I have found is like this particular angle here. If you make the picture too small, then that overhang will be way over into here. And so it's just one of the things to make sure. But for the most part, I have printed every one that I've printed so far with 0 supports, and I've had no problems with my settings right. Which, let's go back real quick just to show you some of my settings that I am using. I've been printing these on Mo, which has a 0.5 millimeter nozzle on it. I'm printing at a 0.3375 millimeter layer height, 6 tops, 3 bottoms, 4 shells. I was printing at 0% infill. I did bump it up to a 5% infill. Your temperatures are going to depend on the material that you're using, and I'm printing it between 30 and 35 millimeters per second. So let's send this off to the printer. We'll take a look at the time lapse, and then we'll come up and conclude this video. So if you like printing lithophanes and you really want to take it to the next level and be able to do stuff like this, go on over to Ransen Saftware and purchase yourself a copy of Photo to Mesh. Now if you're watching this live during the premiere, stick around till after the end of this, and I'm going to go live and I'm going to give away a free copy of this, as well as 5 people are going to win an STL file for them to print of their own. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you have, then thank you very much for your support. Take a look at all the description. I got all kinds of links and ways that you can save some money on some filament, as well as make some purchases that'll directly help the channel, as well as a few links where you can actually directly support the channel. But anyways, thanks for stopping inside the Mind of Matt. Happy printing, be safe pouring, Merry Christmas, and I hope you guys have fun printing lithophanes. Keep on coming back because there's going to be more inside the Mind of Matt. Peace out.